Okay, so I'm going to make you co-host. I think you're muted, Michelle. So more.
Sorry, Aberdeen.
That's it. So you should be a co-host now.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
I've got a few there, so I'll start again.
Oh, you've got a few there. That's good.
We'll make a start.
Yep. Beautiful.
Maybe we'll give them what's 11 o'clock. Maybe we'll give them 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And around about 11:05, we'll
Yep.
just sort of start the official presentation. And if people join in, you can maybe let them in.
Yep. Sounds good.
Turn my camera on would be a good idea. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, welcome. So welcome everybody. We'll give people about 5 minutes, just, it's early morning, and then I'll sort of, introduce myself and explain what's happening. So, okay, so maybe just when we start, maybe leave yourself on mute, and that way, if there's a few people, it's a little less distracting, and then you'll have a chance to ask questions at certain stages during the presentation. So, okay, so nice to see you all there. So just, give them a few minutes. You can, if you wish, maybe unmute yourself at the start while we're waiting for people to join. And so all of you must be the A+ students. You've joined spot on time. So extra points to you. And we're just going to 1 or 2 minutes. We've got a few people here. Okay, so we've got a lot to cover. I won't try and take up too much of your time. And I'll be sending out videos and PowerPoints of this presentation to you maybe tomorrow, once I get some feedback from parents about maybe adding extra things which might be useful to you about the program.
Mr. Kahosik, can I also thank you for running this program? I think it's very important for us to reach out to the community. And can I also especially thank all the parents that have joined us today? It's really important, that you also get involved in the education of your child and what is happening within the school. So I do thank you for taking the time today to join us and learn a little bit more about the program that we're going to be offering next year for our students.
So maybe, Michelle, maybe I'll make a start maybe, and then if others come in, let them join in. So yeah. I've got my video on. It's been a while, so be patient with me, parents and guardians. It's been a while for Zoom since we've been in lockdown, thank God. So let me just share my screen. A second there. Okay, on the right track. Let me go to the... Okay, so maybe I'll pick one person. So Michelle, we can see the screen, I assume?
We can, yes.
Okay, so let me just start the slideshow. So let me just get rid of this little video. It's on the side there. So, okay, as Michelle said, thank you for coming. Welcome, Alex. My name's Eldon Korhodzik. I'm the maths coordinator as of this year. The main presentation is going to be about a program we've just trial run in term 4 called Mathspace. So I'll sort of explain what we're trying to do, how the program works, and why parents are important. As Michelle said, if we all work together, it makes much more of an effect on the students. And that's our common aim. We all want to have the best for our students, and we want each student to achieve to their potential. Okay, so if we work together, I'm sure, inshallah, we can make that happen. Okay, so the first bit's just an overview of the presentation. Again, the presentation, I think, is necessary before we actually start watching the videos, which will be part of the presentation. They're not that long. Maybe one's about 11 minutes, one's about 7 minutes. And that shows you how the actual program works, which is the guts of this meeting. But I think it's also important that I explain the background, because, if you actually know how things work and why things are being used, then it just makes more, as a human being, it makes more sense, and you're more likely to be on board with it. Okay, so there's my email address. I'll be emailing people this PowerPoint and the videos also for this presentation. You can contact me on that email if you need extra support once you get the PowerPoint. So the first thing, how can students achieve their potential mathematics? Now, it's about the program called Mathspace. So during the extensive lockdown period we had, we had the record for the whole world, Melbourne. And students were suffering. I could see as a teacher on Zoom, I'm sure parents were suffering. Teachers were also suffering. And on Zoom, yes, we were trying our best. The students were trying their best. The parents were trying their best. But the pace of learning, it was decreased. Where we might cover 2 chapters in class in, say, 4 or 5 weeks, we're covering 1.5 chapter. So there's potential gaps there in their knowledge. So it got me to thinking, as the maths coordinator, there must be a way we can do something extra given these, circumstances to try and help our students a bit more. Okay, so that's where all this thing came about. So I was thinking in my logic about what made a good math student or a good student. And I've taught students who have gotten 99.9. I've taught students who've gotten 80. I've taught students who've gotten 60. And the thing I've seen through my experience, 20 plus of teaching, is especially given the COVID situation, the way things are moving, students need to move just beyond relying on their teacher. Okay, so students perform at their best when the school, parents, and work together, and that's why, again, I thank you for being here. Because my own kids went to this school. Both of them are graduated. They're both doing their universities. One's just finished. And it makes a difference. And they've actually done scientific studies, educational studies. When parents get involved and the children can actually see that the parents are interested, it has that effect on motivation and morale. So again, thank you for coming. So what we're trying to do, I was thinking with this program, Mathspace, we want students to take more ownership of their learning. So yes, in the math class, the teacher guides the learning, he helps the students, he gives examples, he gives feedback. But I only see my class 5 periods a week. And with the lockdown, it was much less effective. So if we can get students, and this is a characteristic of the really good students, they don't just rely on their teacher. They actually self-direct their learning. They look at their weaknesses. And this led me to thinking, and that's where I found this program called Mathspace, and that's the next thing about. So what the Mathspace program does is, it's like if it doesn't replace the teacher. So if I was teaching a class, like a typical math class, I do an example, a few examples with the kids, we'd explain the theory, I'd ask them questions, and then they would do problems. I might get kids to come to the board to show they're working out. And then if a student got stuck, then you basically give them a hint, you give them a suggestion, you give them help, they do the next step, you give them feedback. And that's what the other programs don't have. And that's what makes this program different. And I'll show you that in the video in a few minutes. So what this Mathspace program does is, an important word, if I can just find I've done this for a while, to make it a bit easier. I've got this spotlight, so make it a bit easier there. So this is the important work. It gives students feedback like a teacher at every step. Okay, so students can answer problems just like on paper. They get constant feedback, and the program lets them know if they're on the right track. It gives them hints and videos. So it basically lets them teach themselves. Not just that, as a teacher, I can actually assign, so for example, my year 10 class, I can assign them the actual textbook for year 10 Victorian curriculum, Australian curriculum, but I can also assign them so they have access to the year 9 textbook, and they have access to the year 11 textbook. So if a student needs to refresh their understanding of a certain area, so for example, maybe a surface area volume measurement, they can go back to the year 9 textbook and do some revision. Or if for the more advanced students, they can then go to the year 11 textbook and do some acceleration. So it doesn't just have to be teacher driven. And I've also found that from experience, even the weaker students, once they start getting actively involved and they start getting answers correct, then that motivation level leads them to do more questions. and suddenly where they're weak at maths, they become average, and then suddenly from average, they become good. So it becomes like a driving mechanism. Inshallah, we can get to that stage. Okay, so you can not only does it address weaknesses, but the program can also address acceleration. Just turn this off. Okay, so I'll show you the video in a few minutes, but Mathspace has lots of explanations, lots of examples, video. It has lots of practice questions that students can try. There's interactive apps. So it's not just getting one question, they can actually go to an interactive app, and actually the app then gives them a series of questions until they grasp the concept. Questions can be normal or they can be adaptive. Adaptive means that, a bit like when students do the NAPLAN test, what the program does is it starts off with easy questions, and if the students are getting them correct, it asks them harder questions. And then if they get that correct, it asks even harder questions. If they're getting the questions wrong, it does what I would do as a teacher. If they're getting it wrong, it doesn't move to harder questions. It asks them similar questions of the similar difficulty until they can show understanding of the topic. Okay, so it supports them in that mode. And now the really useful program is, as part of the actual Mathspace, there's a skill menu which is diagnostic mode. So we're trying to push this over the holidays and next year. What students can do is they can run a diagnostic test, and I'll show you a video again in a few minutes. And this test will test what their gaps are in knowledge. It will identify gaps of areas they don't understand, and not just identify it, they can then click on that area. It will take them to the textbook, and from the textbook, they can then revise on their own and try and understand and fill that gap in. Okay, so I'll show you that in the video in a few minutes. And this feedback is constant. It's not like maybe once a week or once a month or once a term, or in NAPLAN once a year. The more they use the program, the more feedback it provides them, and hopefully the more help it gives them. And maybe the last thing about Mathspace, it can be both teacher-led, and it also empowers the students to take ownership of their learning and growth. So as a teacher, I would set some initial tasks, lessons, worksheets, quizzes, but then the students can go further. They can do their own, they can do a different area, they can go to a different year level, they can do a diagnostic quiz. So it involves both the teacher and the student. So it gives you the best of both worlds. So a lot of this is a bit obviously hard to absorb in a sort of a few minutes. So I'm hoping these videos, again, they're not that long, will make things a little bit more clearer. And then once you watch the videos, I'll open up questions, and then I'll sort of try and answer your questions. Obviously, there's a lot to absorb here. Okay, so hang in there. Let's see how we go.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to a tutorial on how to use Mathspace from the student's end.
So Michelle, are we seeing the sound? Not yet, totally.
Logs in onto Mathspace, they'll be presented with the screen.
Okay, on top, you've got the home button, will take you back to the screen. I'll explain what skills does.
So Michelle, is it better now?
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to
That's good, Albadine. Thank you.
Thank
how
you.
to use Mathspace from the student's end. When the student logs in onto Mathspace, they'll be presented with this screen. Okay, on top, you've got the home button, will take you back to the screen. I'll explain what skills does at the end. It's actually linked onto diagnostics, which is a bit like NAPLAN. Tasks are work set by the teacher. Practice lets students practice topics. And the textbook is probably where I'd start from if the students were using this program to teach themselves. So I'll start with textbook. So if you click on it. Now with Mathspace, you can actually select, if you hit the arrow there, this is the current textbook. The teacher has set different textbooks. So as a teacher for Year 10 Maths, I've made available to students the Year 9 textbook, the Year 10 textbook, and the Year 11 textbook. Students work on the Year textbook, and if they have gaps in their understanding, they can load up the Year 9 textbook and then do some revision, remedial work, fill in gaps, and then go back to the Year 10 textbook. And for more advanced students or students who wish to push ahead, they can actually go to next year's textbook. So if you actually click on the textbook, it shows you the textbooks available, which is set by the teacher. So in this case, I'll go to the Year 10 textbook. You can now select which topic you wish to do as a student. So students are currently for Year 10 doing quadratics. So if I click on quadratics, they're the topics. So there's the first topic. If I click the left arrow to make the screen larger, students would normally start from lessons. From the lessons, they read through it. It explains to them what the key concepts are. What it also does, it gives them examples. It gives them a summary. And then to test themselves, they can do practice questions. At any stage, they can reveal the solution or hide the solution, but they can also try the problem. So now if you try the problem, it gives you instructions. If the student gets stuck, they can click on the hint menu. They can do another hint in this case, and hopefully that will clear up the issue. If they're still stuck, if they need to revise things, they can select the textbook, read through the examples again, close the textbook, and then try the questions. So they use the toolbar under the X equals to select their mathematical notation operations. So X equals. Now from the previous worked example, when you do the square root, you do plus or minus of the square root. So the first answer would be negative. They then select the square root and 5. They move across to the next space, comma, and the next solution is the other square root, but it's now plus 5. Once they've done that, they now click submit. It says it's correct. They can close the preview and go back to the explanation from where they were before. And now they can try the second question, the third question, and so on. Some questions, especially the ones which are a little bit different to the explanations, include a video which they can watch.
We're given this equation and the unknown we're solving for is x. So having a look at the operations involved, we have the squaring of x, then dividing that by 16.
Okay, so they can do that. Once they do that, they can go back and then go to the next topic. But before they do the next topic, it's probably a good idea to make sure they understand it. They can go to the worksheet, and on the worksheet, they can print this out and then do it on paper. This has no answers, but if they hit these 3 little dots, they can download the answer key and mark how they went. Now, the really useful feature which makes this program different to other programs is they have the questions menu. So if they click on the questions menu, what they can do now is they can create for that particular lesson an adaptive task. An adaptive task is a series of questions where the students get asked easy questions, they answer it, and they get asked harder questions. And if they answer it correctly, they get asked even harder questions. If they answer it wrongly, they get asked similar level questions until they basically have shown they've mastered the concept. So I'll give an example. Okay, so what makes this program good is it's not just typing in the answers. If they also get stuck, they can click on skip step on the bottom left. And they can keep repeating this if they keep getting stuck. So eventually it will give them the answer and it says complete and it's showing them they're working out so that they don't get frustrated. Continue. And then it goes on to the next question and so on and so on. They can quit at any time and go back to the original menu and go back to the lesson, and then they can start on the textbook, and now they can do the second lesson. Okay, so that's a little quick introduction on that section. What makes the program good is the ability to, probably the best way to show it is, I'll go back to one of the questions. Before they start the adaptive task, they can also pick any questions that looks interesting to them. So example, this one here, if I click on it, it says try question. Now this program acts like the teacher. It gives them feedback on every step of their working out as a teacher would, and then lets them know whether they're on the right track. They can try and fix it, look for hints. And then once it's given them feedback and they've answered it, then they can go back to the next question. Other programs just give the answer at the end, whether it's correct or not. They don't mark the working out steps. So actually having feedback at every step, like a teacher, allows the student to self-teach themselves. So example for this one, let's go through this one as a student. If they were doing this one, they would be factorizing it to solve it. So it's part of the working out, and they can also use in the top right a sketch pad, so they can do some rough working out. So x squared is x and x, 30 to give you the middle term, which is -1, could be 10 times 3 is 30, but 10 and 3 will not give you the middle term, the -1. So that doesn't work. So you try 6 and 5. So 6 and 5 give you 30. Because you want the middle term to be -1, you want -6 and +5. They can now go to the actual enter stage and factorize it. So bracket x minus 6 bracket, then the other bracket, x plus 5, close the bracket, equals 0, and that's their first working out to factorize it. If they were doing it in front of the teacher, the first step, they click on submit. It's given them a green tick, which means that their method's correct. Now they have to do the next step. In the bottom right, you've got the submit button. That means they haven't finished the problem. So the next step would be to take each bracket. So I'll go back to the scratch pad. We can clear the previous stuff. So the next step would be to take each bracket individually and make it equal to 0. To bring the -6 to the other side, you do the opposite, becomes +6. To bring the +5, you do the opposite to the other side, becomes -5. So we can now type in the answer here. We can backtrack and type in x equals 6, comma, and the other answer was -5. And now we click the submit button again. It says close preview. They've done everything correct. Okay, so I'll stop the video on this stage and then I'll do another video which explains some of the other features which are useful.
Okay, so maybe I'll take it at this stage. There's a lot to absorb there, but I hope the video at least shows you to some extent the power of the program. So I'll take questions, and then there's an even shorter video, which is probably, if not equally important, more important, is where students can actually diagnose, and with parents there are support, they can actually find their weaknesses and fix it. So before I do the second video, yeah, please unmute yourself and ask questions. So stage is yours. So I'm seeing a message there. So yeah, so basically kids should have their own classes set up, etc. Again, it's a new program, it's trialing with something new. There's reluctance sometimes on the children's end to use it, and sometimes maybe there's miscommunication with the teacher. So if you ask your child and they haven't got log-on credentials, just maybe send me an email and I'll sort it out. Now, also, we have this program, we're trialing it as part of the negotiation. We've got access to the program over the remainder of the term and the holiday period. And then they'll be transitioning into it during next year during class time, if that answers your question. Now, can people unmute? I'm not sure whether your ability, have you been blocked to unmute yourself, or so maybe I'll pick somebody out. Zizzy, sorry if I pronounced correctly. Oh, so you can, okay.
Yep. I just wanted to know, will parents have access to this program to be able to monitor at home, or is it based purely on what we can see from the kids?
So two things. Yeah, so what you see from the kids, I mean, yeah, so you won't have access to the program as a separate to the student, but inbuilt in the program, there's a feature where we can add your Gmail, and what you will get is a once a week report on how the students have been using the program. So you'll get feedback in that stage. And again, as a parent, I mean, we'll talk a little bit about the last slide about what parents can do. And I've had two kids here. So as a parent, it's sort of a delicate balance. You don't want to be sort of really pushing them, but you don't also want to be really too laid back.
Yes.
So if you can establish that relationship, then I find, you know, the way you set it up, a lot of the children will actually enjoy having their parents there and show, oh, look at this feature. And so you can sort of maybe work through it together as a strategy.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum salam.
Brother, are you going to select the topic for them, or they just online for 1 hour and they can choose this topic whatever they want, or they will do according to the year level, whatever they're going to do when the school open?
Yeah.
Is there any chart or anything?
Yeah. So there's two things. So the first thing is they can use the program. The teacher can actually set work for the students. Okay, so I'll be asking the teachers to maybe set the first topic of next year. So if your students in year 9, I'll ask the teachers to actually assign a lesson, the topic for the first week of term 1 of next year, so they can make a head start over the holidays. But my suggestion is first, also as a student, they should be doing that diagnostic module, which I'll show you in a few minutes, and they should be trying to address any issues, gaps in their current year. So try and fix up any issues currently, and then move on to next year's topic. And I'll get teachers to sort of assign it.
Yeah, and this is same same thing for the senior classes as well, for year 11, 12. Like if they want to do the revision, whatever they have done in year 11, they can select any topic which they think that I need to go back to this topic. They can do, or like it's the same thing. You will decide, or they can go whatever topic they want and they can do.
So this program is available for year 6 to 12. And the only thing the teacher does is the teacher sets the textbook which are available to the students, and the teacher can actually set work, but the student has total control as to also whether they want to do certain topics or which year level or revision stuff or diagnostic stuff. So they have total control as a student.
All right. Jazakallah. Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Mr. Alvarez?
So one from me, how do we get our email added to the classes? Does our kids can do that, or how do we actually get that to happen?
Maybe Michelle, do they go through the IT department or?
Yeah, they could just email the school, yep.
So maybe I'll be sending people a PowerPoint of this one. and that's why I'm not sending it today. I'll send it tomorrow. I'll add maybe a little section about a contact email to update to the school there, some information.
Thank you very much.
No problems. I think, there was
Mr.
something-
Albertine, I think an earlier message question was, do the kids already have their logins? I think you
Yeah.
can answer that
No,
one.
I did. I said
Yep.
they should have it. It's been
Yep.
trialed in it, but again, from my end, I've been doing it with my class. It's a new program. It's been sort of busy trying to do CAT tasks and the senior ones exams. So it's a bit hard for me to say specifically, do they all have it? They all should have it. If they don't have it, again, there could be valid reasons for it. As I said, I'll add the contact information in the PowerPoint, which I'll send to you tomorrow or by Friday. And then all you just need to do is contact the school and we'll fix it up. And also speak to the teacher and get things sorted out.
Perfect.
Okay, so any more questions? Jump in.
Assalamu alaikum, brother.
Alaikum salam.
Brother, do they have access during the holidays as well?
Yeah, so they got access over the holidays, full access, yes.
Okay. And one more thing, do they have any information as a guidance, like how to use and how to get access and everything?
So again, what they should have been done is we've been doing a trial run in class, so they should be familiar with it. Now, again, the other thing is also this video where I've showed you how to use it. I'll send you that video. So if for some reason they've missed out, they could have been ill, they could have been absent, they could have been in maybe various reasons, they can watch this video and get familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
In my PowerPoint at the end, there's a link to the actual official website, which gives you tutorial videos on how to use the program. So the only thing they should really need at this stage is if they haven't been logged in by the teacher, then if you maybe tell me, you can use my email and I'll sort that on this end. But the idea of this program was we wanted to make it available on these holidays. And I've had sons who've done it, and students, if they use their time properly, a lot can be done on these holidays, like 6-7 weeks. Now, my own sons who went through the school, it's not the only way, but what one of them did was during the holidays, they do like one day off a normal school day where they'd pick their subjects like maths and stuff and do work on it. So it would be things like remedial, or they might do next year's course, get a head start. And then the second day of the holidays, they'd have totally off from any schoolwork. They go with their friends or do normal things kids do, students do. Again, there's other ways of doing it. So yeah, we want to make this program available for students to try and get them to help themselves. And then obviously with the teacher next year, the more they can do on the holidays, inshallah, the teacher can help them more also next year. Okay, any more questions?
Thank you, brother.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
But maybe I'll show you that second video. So as I mentioned, it's not just being able to, students have total control. So it's not just being able to teach yourself, and now teaching yourself because it gives you feedback. That's what makes it, that's what makes the program powerful, as I hope you saw from that short video. So the second video shows you how the actual program can be used to diagnose weaknesses, and then how students can then try and do what they can to fix it. So let me just find it, and it's a shorter video, and then I'll take any questions. Okay, let me close this one. So we'll close the video. Okay. So let me know if it's working, Michelle. Any issues?
Alaikum and welcome. This is the second video on using Mathspace.
You just need to share your screen, Albertine. It's not shared.
Okay. That's why I said any issues, so it's a bit hard to track. Thank you. Okay. Let me find it, hopefully. Okay, share screen. Okay.
That's better.
Better? Okay, let's see if the sound's good. Let me know. I'll try and adjust it. Trying to find the video thing. So that's that one there.
Assalamu alaikum and welcome. This is the second video on using Mathspace. The first video focused on the basics of Mathspace, the menus, and how students can use it as part of the learning process in maths. This second video is going to focus on how Mathspace can be used by a student to be an interactive learner. If students get involved in their learning, and studies have shown this, it goes one step beyond just listening to the teacher and trying problems. They take ownership of their learning, and by doing this, it leads to improved understanding and results, inshallah. So the way this program achieves this aim is twofold. As a student, the first step is to improve and to get involved in the learning. I need to know what topics I haven't covered and what topics I have covered. The second aspect of being an interactive learner is I need to be able to diagnose my issues, my problems, areas in the skills for maths, and then I need to be able to relearn or teach myself how to understand and overcome these difficulties. On the first step to learning what you have done and what you haven't done and finding out, on the top line where it says home, skills, task and practice, as a student, if I click on the practice menu, it takes me to an overview of all the chapters for the selected textbook. In this case, it's the Year 10 Australian Curriculum Textbook, 2020 edition. Now, this is different to what was done in week 1, in that this menu also keeps a record of what topics were done and what questions were done, how many and what wasn't done. So example, in algebra, I've done some work, a little bit, the little green section coloured in, while I've currently haven't attended. So in review, this section where you have practice, students can go to the different chapters, work their way through the questions, and the amount of green colour tells you to what extent they've covered the topic. So statistics, if I click on it, it's telling me I've done box plots, some questions. I can then go to box plots and do more questions. I can go to lessons and teach myself and then do some practice. And the more questions I do, the more the green line gets filled in. And that way I have a record of what I have done and what I haven't done. The second step in terms of being an interactive learner and taking ownership of it as a student is to be able to diagnose your weaknesses and address it, which is the purpose of NAPLAN, which students do at Year 7 and Year 9. This program, Mathspace, allows that same process to happen, but on a continual basis, not just at Year 7, Year 9. And what the students do is they go to the section Click Skills in the top line next to Home. If I click on that, the first time they do this, the students will be asked to select their year level. So what students should do is if for 2021 they were in Year 10, they'd select Year 10, and then what the program does, it takes you to this menu which has the following strands. So the ACARA strands for maths, number, algebra, measurements, geometry and probability and statistics. So as a student, when they do a check-in, they get 30 questions. After the 30 questions, as you can see in the number strand, it actually ticks it. So grade 3, I have no weaknesses. At grade 4 level, I'm okay. Grade 5 level as a student. At grade 8 level, there seems to be some gaps introduced there. And then I can go all the way up to Year 9 and 10. While I haven't done the algebra yet, I've just started doing the check-in. Once you've done the 30 questions, you use a calculator when you do it usually. You can then do a weekly 10-minute check-in on each of these number strands where you do a few questions, not 30. And you do that every week. And then what the program does is it updates your diagnostics and it shows whether you've covered the gaps and holes in your understanding. So in this case, you can see that at Year 8, I have a gap at, if I put my pen over it, it's telling me what the actual ACARA strand is or what the question is. Now, as a student, if I click on the heading number above Start Check-In, it takes me to this section. So Year 3, my issue was at Year 9, And now I can see down here where I've got the brown box at the bottom, there's practice and check-in. So practice, if I click on it, which I'll do shortly, takes me to the textbook, to the section which addresses that ACARA strand VCMNA 304. I can then go there, revise it, watch videos, do some practice, and then I go back to the check-in and try that question again to see whether I've covered that gap in my understanding. So if I click on practice, it takes me to the actual chapter which addresses my gap in knowledge. As a student, I start with the first one. I click on lessons, and then as from the first video on Mathspace, as a student, I can go try and teach myself. I can do some practice problems. And then once I'm happy with that, I can go and do some more questions. And then once I'm happy I've understood it, I can go back to my skills. So I selected the one there, I can answer questions on simple interest. I can now click on check-in. And what the program does is it now tests me on that gap it identified. And after I've watched those lessons and tried those practice problems, can I now do that question? Have I filled in my gap of knowledge? Okay, so I hope you can see how powerful this program is. It gives feedback to students. They do the initial 30 questions, and every week they do a few questions from each of those strands of number, algebra, probability, etc. And then as a student, you can track whether you're addressing those problems. And as a teacher, I can also see my students' progress and give them extra help on the areas for the whole classroom on areas which needs to be addressed in their gaps of knowledge. So I hope this video has been helpful. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact the school and me. My name's Elvedin Korhodzik. I'm the maths coordinator. Alaikum salam.
Okay, so let me just share the screen. So again, I hope, yeah, so the other function we've talked about, let me just do that bit. So Michelle, we can see the PowerPoint again.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay, so yeah, so the second one you can see there, what makes it really powerful is, I mean, it takes time and effort, but at least, you know, with the holidays, there's no teacher there. It doesn't replace the teacher. But if you've got a tutor, if you've got someone in the family who's good at maths, and even the students themselves, it gives them a chance at actually trying to fix as many gaps as they can. And the more gaps you can fix, then obviously it makes next year's, you know, learning and transition that much a little bit easier. So I'll take any questions, fire away. So, anybody? Okay, so I'll just go through the last few videos. I know there's a lot to absorb, so I'll just go through the last few videos about parents, and then again, I'll send you this PowerPoint and the video links so you can watch at your own pace. It's a lot to absorb. And I'll add that little link about if you haven't got your email with the school, so you can be added to that notification email. I'll send you some information on the PowerPoint, how to do that. Okay, so if we go to the next bit, just go this bit. Okay. So are we seeing the, Michelle?
We are.
So that's the program in essence. Now, the third step of the thing there, as a parent, and I've been a parent myself with children who've gone through this school, so maybe just some really quick advice. I won't take up too much of your time. Things like distractions. So a lot of students I've found, when I've asked them, they use their bedrooms as a study area. Now, if possible, again, it's not always possible, I'd recommend not using the bedroom, because they've done studies that the bedroom is a place where students associate with sleeping. So once in their bed, if they do their study in their bedroom without even realizing it, they're not really as focused. Okay, don't put extra pressure on students. And I've done this myself in terms of the way I've taught my children. So things like, don't make comparisons. I've had 2 children, they're all different. I've always pushed effort, not results. So, you know, have you tried your best? Have you done the work? The results tend to, again, there's no guarantees, but I've been teaching 20 plus years. If you put the effort in, the results tend to come. Okay, so, but when you start putting the emphasis on results, then that creates pressure, negativity, again, personally, I find that that sort of defeats the purpose a bit. Now, in terms of parents, there's obviously, I'm sure you're doing it, you're here. There's notifications on campus, contact the school, stay in touch. Parents, I mean, I've vented during lockdown to my wife and the kids. I'm sure the kids also vent. We try and listen to them, encourage them, support them. And probably the last bit is I'll just click on it. Somebody asked earlier if they've missed time on this actual, on the actual how to use Mathspace, they can watch this video I've showed you. If you click on this link, this is the actual official website from the actual Mathspace. And what you can do is they've got videos on how to actually use the program and advice. Okay, so again, I know it's not maybe ideal on the holidays, but it gives you a starting point. And the more you can do, then when we get back at school, hopefully we'll go full bore with the teachers and the students and get everybody on board on the same page. Where else? So maybe the joys of technology. Okay, so in conclusion, so again, thank you for coming. So it's a tool. It's going to be used by teachers. It's going to be used in the classroom, but where its power comes in is that the students need to be able to be using it. Okay, now things to be aware of, because I've done it with my class. Anything which is new, not just students, adults, if there's something new, there's a reluctance to do it. So I'm asking for your support. Maybe support your students, sons and daughters, our students, your sons and daughters, encourage them. We'll do our bit at the school, obviously, next year. But students sometimes, when I was doing it in my class, initially, they got frustrated because the program wants you to put the answers in a certain mathematical logical form. And some students, even the good ones, they're used to putting answers all across the page. They're used to maybe leaving brackets out. And sometimes when the program says, no, you can't do that, they get frustrated. Now, that's actually a good thing, because when they do year 12 exams, all these bad habits they have, if they don't fix it, then they're going to lose marks for it in year 12 exams. So by actually forcing the students to follow that certain format, I see it as a strength, not a weakness. But what that requires is obviously perseverance and practice. And I found with my class, when I've used it, maybe after 1 week, a few lessons, they're right into it. They're not having problems with what the program wants you to do, how it wants the answer, and so on. And maybe my last piece of my own personal advice and what I've seen as a teacher, students are often afraid of making mistakes. Adults are also. But from my life experiences, it's through mistakes that we actually know learning's happening. If you're not making mistakes, you're not really learning, or you're an absolute genius. And I know, well done. So, but mistakes mean you're learning. So you just have to persevere and have a positive attitude. And if that's something we try and teach our students, your sons and daughters, then basically, I think it's a life lesson which goes beyond maths and something worthwhile doing. So again, as Michelle said, I wish to thank everybody, all the parents, for your questions of participation. I hope it's helped. I'm hoping we can work together, keep in touch and contact, and maybe if you have other parents have contacts with other parents, if you maybe pass the word around that what's happening is a good thing. Hopefully, that's what this PD's shown you. Then maybe we can get more numbers and sort of move forward and inshallah try and make sure every student gets the best result they can that Allah has given them. So again, thank you everybody. If you have questions, you can stay back and ask me. Otherwise, yeah. So log off and I'll send you off the PowerPoints and links the next day or so. So thank you for coming.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
If you have questions, you're free to stay back and ask. So,
No worries.
Thank you.
have a nice day. Thank you for coming.
Brother, I have one question.
So, Ms. Naseem, do you have a question?
Yes, brother, I have one question. If they are doing these space during the holidays, and if they are stuck with anything, and they need feedback from their teacher, how it's going to?
Yeah. So again, it's an initial program. We're just sort of starting it, so it's a bit hard, obviously, given it's the end of year. So
Mhm.
probably the best thing is just to try to do the best you can.
Mhm.
I've shown you that link for self-help videos.
Yeah.
But obviously, if you get totally stuck, I mean, I can't speak for all teachers, but it doesn't hurt actually sending them an email, and maybe even send me an email, because as a teacher myself, that's what I'm here for. So if a
Yeah.
student sent me an email, obviously, you know, I might not answer in an exact day or the same minute, but I'd be open to helping out, and I imagine most of the teachers would be.
Yeah.
Again, I can't speak for everybody these holidays, and you know, it's been a long year, and people are tired. I'm sure parents are tired, and
Yeah,
I think we all need a long break. But you know, we're starting something, inshallah, new. You know,
Yeah.
hopefully, you know, it will help our students a lot.
Inshallah, brother. Inshallah. Thank you so much, brother.
Thanks
It's
for
been
coming.
very
Appreciate it. Have a nice
helpful.
day. Assalamu
Yeah.
alaikum.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay, where's the? I'll stop the
Okay,
video.
Alfredine, have you got all of, oh,
Just
stop the
video.
recording.